Hello everyone, my name is Shahzad Khan, working in New Catholic Mission School, Jhabua, going to teach you subject science of standard 6. Today we are going to study chapter number 14, that is water. Water is a precious source for our daily life and daily uses. That is, suppose for some reasons your family gets only one bucket of water every day for a week. Imagine what would happen. Would you be able to cook, clean utensils, wash clothes or bath? What are the other activities you would not be able to do if there is no availability of water? What would happen if we do not have easy access to water for a long period of time? That is a major question which will come in our mind. Apart from drinking, there are so many activities for which we use water. That should be mentioned the figure here. 14.1 in your textbook. Do you have an idea about the quantity of water we use in a single day or per day? That is, we are using for different purposes of water, and how it will be retained and how much long time it will be retained for us to use. So the question comes, how much water do we use here? With the help of this table, we can easily accommodate the quantity of water for per day by person or by family. Throughout the day, measure the amount of water used for each activity by you and other family members. You may use a mug, a glass, a bucket or any other container to measure the amount of water which is to be used by you. Have a rough idea as to how much water your family uses in a day. Using this information, calculate the amount of water needed by your family in a year. Now divide this amount by the number of members of your family. This will give an idea of amount of water needed by one member of your family in a year. Find the number of people that live in your village or town. You may now get an idea of the amount of water needed by your village or town in a year. In this table, we will prepare an estimate, that is the estimation of the amount of water used by a family in a day. The activities which are to be performed: drinking, brushing, bathing, washing utensils, washing clothes, toilets, cleaning floor, any other. For example, amount of water to be used for drinking, minimum 1 liter to 3 liter or 4 liter, brushing half liters, bathing we are getting 10 to 15 liters. So the amount that will be measured can be maintained here in this table, and after all this we will calculate the amount of water which will be used by per day by per person in a family. So where do we get water from? If we are using this much large amount of water, then how we are getting and from where we are getting this? Each of us may be getting water into our homes in different ways, but finally all of us get water from the same sources such as ponds, lakes, rivers and wells. We have discussed some of the sources of water. Where does the water comes from? To these ponds, lakes, rivers and wells. Here we are getting the picture of our earth. That is 70% of earth is acquiring the water, but it is of salty nature which will be not for properly uses. We are getting from different sources. In this picture we can take here using motors and taps there. Yet oceans play an important role in supplying the water that we use. Do you find this surprising? After all, the water that we use is not salty. Many of us live in places far away from the ocean. Does the water supply in these places also depends on the oceans? How does the ocean water reaches ponds, lakes, rivers and wells which supply us water? How come the water from these sources is not saline anymore? That is where the water cycles come in. The thing which we will discuss here, the main, that is water cycle, how we are getting proper water, not a saline water. Disappearing tricks of water, that is main thing. How many times have you noticed that water spilled on a floor dries up after some time? The water seems to be disappear. Similarly, water disappear from wet clothes as they are dry up in the figure here. Water from wet roads, rooftops and a few other places also disappears after the rains. Where does this water go? So example can be seen here, that will be combined into converted into the vapor systems, that is water vapors. Loss of water by plants. Plants use a part of this water to prepare their food and retain some of it in their different parts. Remaining parts of this water is released by the plants into air as water vapors through the process of transpiration. Water vapors enters the air through the process of evaporation and transpiration. Is it lost forever? No. We get it back again, as we will see. How are clouds formed? Now the question comes here. If you are getting the water, then how will the main thing? Cloud formation. The process of condensation plays an important role in bringing water back to the surface of earth. How does it happen? As we go higher from the surface of the earth, it gets cooler. When the air moves up, it gets cooler and cooler. At sufficient height, the air becomes so cool that the water vapors present in it condenses to form tiny drops of water called droplets. It is called tiny droplets that remain floating in air and appear to us as clouds. We can check here with the examples in the picture which we are given here. Some drops of water become so heavy that they begin to fall. These falling water drops are what we call rain. In special conditions, it may also fall as hail or snow. Thus, water in the form of vapor goes into air by evaporation and transpiration, forms cloud and then come back to the ground as rain, hail or snow. So here we can take both the example. It's an experimental process we can check here, and it's the natural process what we can see on the rainy seasons. Back to the oceans. Now this picture will be elaborate much more idea to us. Snow in the mountains melt into water. This water flows down the mountains in the form of streams and rivers. Figure 14.8 in your book. Some of the water that falls on land as rain also flows in the form of rivers and streams. Most of the rivers cover long distance on land and ultimately fall into a sea or an ocean. However, water of some rivers flow into lakes. The rainwater also fills up the lakes and ponds. A part of the rainwater gets absorbed by the ground and seems to disappear in the soil. Some of this water is brought back to the air by the process of evaporation and transpiration. The rest receives into the ground. Most of this water becomes available to us as groundwater. Remain the definitions please in your mind. Groundwater definition is here. The rest seeps into the ground. Most of this water becomes available to us as groundwater, which will be taken by either open wells or by the bore wells. Open wells are fed by groundwater. Groundwater is a source for many lakes as well. It is also this groundwater which is drawn by a hand pump or a tube well. The more hand pumps or tube wells that are used in an area, the deeper we need to dig to find this groundwater. The loss in the level of groundwater due to overuse is worrisome. We know that nowadays water brought back to the surface of the earth by rain, hail or snow goes back again to the ocean. Thus water from the oceans and surfaces of the earth goes into air as vapor, return as rain, hail or snow and finally goes back to again to the ocean. The circulation of water in this manner is known as water cycle. So this is the whole picture which you can easily create while asking the question what is water cycle, or draw a diagram of water cycle. So the arrows will be shows the evaporation, transpirations or condensations, then again it back forming the clouds section also. This maintains the supply of water on land. So we can again take the definition, the circulation of water between ocean and land is a continuous process which we are properly called as water cycle. What if it rains heavily? Now is condition that if rain is heavily on a particular area, on a state or a city or a country, then what conditions will be there? The time, durations and the amount of rainfall varies from place to place. In some parts of the world, it rains throughout the year, while there are places where it rains only for a few days. In our country, most of the rainfall occurs during the monsoon season. Rains bring relief, especially after hot summer days. The sowing of many crops depends on the arrival of monsoon. However, excess of rainfall may lead to many problems. There are figure number both these 14.10. That is the conditions of floods, the conditions of non-dippings into the sewage tanks. So these problems may be get on the city or the village areas if there is heavy rainfall. Heavy rains may lead to rise in the level of water in rivers, lakes and ponds. The water may then spread over large areas causing floods. The crop fields, forests, villages and cities may get submerged by water. In our country, flood cause extensive damage to crops, domestic animals, property and humans' life. During floods, the animals living in the water also get carried away with the waters. They often get trapped on land areas and die when flood water recedes. Rain also affects the animals living in the soil. So now the questions comes, what happens if it does not rain for a long period? First questions come in your mind, it is for a heavy rain. Now if there is no any rain for a long period, the soil continues to lose water by evaporation and transpiration. Since it is not being brought back by the rain, the soil becomes dry. the level of water in ponds and wells of the region goes down and some of them may even dry up. The groundwater may also become scarce. This may lead to drought. In drought conditions, it is difficult to get food and fooders. You might have heard about droughts occurring in some parts of the country or the world. How can we conserve water? If the questions arise in your mind that less quantity or no rains is there, then we should conserve the water. But how should we conserve the water is questions come in your mind. That is, only a small fraction of water available on earth is fit for use of plants, animals and humans. Most of the water is in the ocean and it cannot be used directly. When the level of groundwater decreases drastically, this cannot be used anymore. The total amount of water on earth remains the same, but the water available for use is very limited as is decreasing with overuses. The demand for water is increasing day by day. The number of people using water is increasing with rising population. In many cities, long queues of collections of water are a common sight. That is example here, figure. Also, more and more water is being used for producing food and by the industries. These factors are leading to shortage of water in many parts of the world. Hence, it is very important that water is used carefully. We should take water, not to waste water. So, the example to be mentioned that quiz will be mentioned on the cities where there are only single taps available between locality. So, rainwater harvesting, the main source which will be help to regain the water, that is rainwater harvesting. It is a very much better source which you can easily view or check in the Rajasthan areas or in the deserts areas where people are very much aware about rainwater harvesting. One way of increasing the availability of water is to collect rainwater and store it for later use. Collecting rainwater in this way is called rainwater harvesting. The basic idea behind rainwater harvesting is catch water where it falls. A lot of effort will then be required to get this water back into our homes as the water did not seep into the ground. Discuss here are the two techniques which will be used for better rain harvesting process. First is rooftop rainwater harvesting. In this system, the rainwater is collected from the rooftop to a storage tank through pipes. This water may contain soil from the roof and need filtering before it is used. Instead of collecting rainwater in the tank, the pipes can go directly into a pit in the ground. Then the seep into the soil to recharge or refill the groundwater. Figure number 14.13, that is in the next slide, will show you. Another option is to allow water to go into the ground directly from the roadside drains that collect rainwater. That is a normal seepage. So this will be here example 14 number 13 figure, that water will be there as rains starts, and after this pipeline using we are producing it into a pits into the ground, and again it into a next bigger ground there pit will be available. So by this process we can reserve the water for a long period or for a whole year. So rainwater harvesting is a better source for our every questions of water low level. So I hope so that each and every aspects of this chapter will be much more betterly clear to you. If you are getting much more problems, then mention us, so we will redefine with new definition and new examples. Thank you.